This is from some guy named Fred, and he gives this very simple chart. A person is homeless. Did they make bad personal choices? No? House them. Oh, okay. Yes, house them. Oh, so just give them a house no matter what. That sounds wonderful. Yes, these poor homeless people, let's just put them up in houses and everything is going to be great. Except it won't. So I worked in supported housing for 3 years. I was the coordinator of the program. I started entry level, worked my way up, and was running the whole thing. So I had experienced pretty much every facet of that program. And our job was to get people who were homeless or at risk of homelessness or had a mental illness into this program, and we would provide them housing. We would subsidize their rent, so their rent would be 30% of their total monthly income, no matter what they made. So if they made $10 a month, their rent was $3. If they didn't have a job at the moment, they were in between jobs, we would bring them down to DSS and help get them public assistance so that they covered their rent, so they're not even paying anything. So, and we fully furnished the apartments. We provided them shuttle services to go get groceries. We covered, I think, their electric or cable, one of the two. And we offered mental health services to them. We helped get them to rehab. So we provided a lot of services for these people. We were supported housing, so we provided support for them. And do you want to know what a lot of these people did? They destroyed their apartments. Yep. And they would violate their lease agreement. They wouldn't go to their appointments. They would do drugs in their apartment. They would sell drugs in their apartment. They would have people that are not authorized to live in the apartment living in the apartment. They would abuse their girlfriends. They would hoard. I had one person who was a hoarder, a hardcore hoarder. I mean, I'm getting flashbacks, y'all. All right, so some of this, I saw some of the most disgusting things I've ever seen in my life in that 3 short years, and some of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. So, true story. I'm not going to tell the whole true story, but just part of it. Like, some of the stuff that happened should be in a movie. There was a love triangle between a crippled guy in a wheelchair, his gay lover, and this girlfriend. That it sounds like it's made up. It's not. And he was a drug dealer. And it was just this crazy thing. But anyway, back to the hoarding story. That actually happened. It's nuts to me. The hoarding story, this lady, during her interview, because we had to do like this intake process, while she was being interviewed, I wasn't there, it was somebody else, they told me the story. And while she's being interviewed, a roach crawls on her. This time she's not in the apartment, but a roach crawls on her shoulder during the interview. Red flag right there. Then when she walked in for her second appointment, when she walked in the building, I could smell urine on her, all right? I could smell it. And somehow she got into the program. She shouldn't have, she did. I'm telling you, within 2 weeks, this brand new apartment looked like it had been lived in for 10 years. You could smell urine out in the hallway. And then my job was to try to help prevent these people from being evicted. But sometimes you can do everything humanly possible and you can't help them. I went to this lady's apartment. I'm not kidding, guys. This is so crazy. So her apartment's trashed. I mean, there's grime on the floor. There's roaches everywhere. And we told her, by the way, she couldn't bring all of her stuff with her because we were afraid that she's going to bring the roaches with her. She didn't listen to us. She did it anyway. And so she brought all the roaches with her. And, now they're spreading to other units. It's causing problems. And we're helping her clean up. And there's this bag, that has her paperwork in it. And she wants help, I guess, cleaning up the bag or going through the bag because she doesn't want her paperwork thrown out. I'm like, fine, whatever. I'll go do it. I go over the bag, guys. I open the bag and I move the papers. I'm not kidding y'all. Like 1,000 roaches start scurrying about. almost climbing out of the bag, and then she looks at me, guys. I'm not kidding. She looks at me and she says, I don't know why they're following me. And I'm like, what? What's happening? She had bags filled with feces in her closet. She only lived there a couple weeks. A couple weeks. And yeah, guess what? She ended up homeless. Because she was not capable of living in an apartment. And she's actually nice. And there are a lot of people that aren't nice. And there are some people that, as sad as this is, we want to house them. We have Rosen, I can't just sing, I'm done. Well, it's true. That actually happened. It's freaking crazy. But there are just some people that you can't house. If they made bad personal choices, guess what they're going to do when they go in that apartment? They're going to continue to make bad personal choices that is going to result in, guess what? Them being homeless. And guess what? When you put them in an apartment around other people, that impacts their neighbors. That impacts the people around them. You know, and this is especially bad with people that struggle with substance abuse. Because let's say you get one guy in that's clean, that's doing great, and then you bring another guy in that's still doing drugs. Well, guess what? Now the guy that's doing great is now buying drugs off the new guy that you brought into the apartment. So it just creates this disaster where it'd just be better off if you didn't house them. Or at the very least, you made sure that they had all their ducks in a row before you housed them. Or help them find work, something. But just putting people in houses and thinking it's gonna fix these problems, it's not gonna fix all the problems. Because there's a root cause to these problems. And that has to be solved before you can actually house them. So, I just relived my trauma on air. Having flashbacks. So disgusting. There's a man, I have so many stories from this place. There is this one kid, he claimed to be transgender, right? I didn't believe him, but we had this real gullible person I worked with, and she believed him. She wanted to respect the pronouns and stuff like that. And I think this kid was honestly just trolling her, which, you know, I'm fine with that. But he was also a hoarder. And, you know, he, said he had this girlfriend, that she was pregnant, and he's been out of his apartment. He's facing eviction. We're trying to get into his apartment, and he'd been sent this on this wild tale involving this pregnancy with this girl, and come to find out this kid has been in his apartment the whole time, just eating Cheetos, destroying his unit. And then we knock on the door and we find him in there, and he got evicted. Because some people are just stupid too. They just did stupid things that you can't even save them from their own stupidity. So yeah, that happened.